So Kinds of Kindness was definitely one heck of a film. It was a little long, but I definitely enjoyed it, right? It's the newest movie from director Yorgos Lanthimos, who just recently directed Poor Things last year, also with Emma Stone, which was awesome. It was like a female Frankenstein-esque story. And this movie was just as ridiculous. I mean, the trailer was super vague and interesting, where it seemed like there was the same actors in different roles doing different things, and I was very curious as to what exactly the story was going to be like, and I was blown away. It's technically three stories in one, so it could have been a series in a sense, but for a film, it's an interesting concept, right? And it's the director's third time, I guess, working with Emma Stone. And I absolutely love her. I think Emma Stone is fantastic. I think she's aged so well. I mean, honestly, any movie that she's in where she's topless, I guess I'm kind of down. Doesn't really matter what the story consists of, but she looks fantastic. She is so beautiful. But so she's one of the leads in this movie alongside Jesse Plemons and William Dafoe, and pretty much each story of these three involves the same actors, but different plots, different premises, loosely tied together. Still don't quite understand how they're tied together. I guess I kind of see, but it's a very interesting concept for a very interesting film by a very interesting director, to say the least. But so Kinds of Kindness, like I said, follows all these actors. You had Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, William Dafoe was in it, Hong Chow, the enabler from The Whale, and a couple other actors. But pretty much in the first story, Jesse Plemons plays this character Robert, whose life is completely controlled by his boss, right? Emma Stone says in her interview that it's like the stories are a tie between like wanting to be controlled to also wanting to have the freedom to do as you want for yourself and for your life. And so the first story, Jesse Plemons' character, his life is completely played out for him or set for him by his boss, who is played by William Dafoe. And it turns out that everything has been arranged by William Dafoe's character, who is his boss, like his marriage, where he lives, what he does for work, when he has sex, when he eats, everything is controlled by his boss. And one day his boss asks him to do something very out of the ordinary, and in comparison to everything that they've done together, you would think that this was really nothing, but it did involve, quote unquote murder, and he just didn't feel comfortable with it. And William Dafoe's character ends up like shutting him off completely from himself, right? Like he's like, oh, well, you can do whatever you want then, and you can live your life and blah, blah, blah. And Jesse Plemons' character is like, no, like I love you. I want to be with you. I want you to tell me what to do, but I just can't do this one thing. And because that one thing isn't done, it's like, hey, well, then you're not obviously in love with me and you're not wanting to do everything I want you to do. Pretty wild. And one thing leads to another, and he ends up kind of trying to make that happen for him, because he is in love with William Dafoe's character, even though he's like married and does all these, he has his whole life. Technically, it's not enough for him, and then the second story, it follows Emma Stone as this wife to Plemons' character, and she's been missing, right? She's like a marine biologist, and she was out in the sea doing studies or whatever. She gets lost, stranded on an island for an insurmountable amount of time, and when they find her, Jesse Plemons has this thought that she's not really his wife. He's like paranoid that she's like a shapeshifter or a doppelganger or something, but it's not actually his wife. And you find out that she is maybe not his wife. Like she's willing to do anything for him to convince him otherwise, but by doing anything, it's like, would you cut your finger off? Because that's kind of a lot. Like I would be like, look, I'm me, I'm not going to cut my finger off for you, so you're going to have to deal with it. But she kind of takes the latter option, and at the end of that story, you find out. Well, I mean, you don't really find out, but like, was it really her? Was it a shapeshifter? I mean, is there someone that mimicked her like somehow perfectly? Like, it's pretty wild. Very interesting story to say the least, right? And then the third story is the one that's mostly in the trailer, right? Where it follows Emma Stone and Plemons as these cultists, and William Dafoe and Hong Chow are like the cult leaders in a sense, and they're trying to find somebody who is supposedly able to bring people back from the dead, right? And they end up, going through some trials of trying to find the right person. And when they finally do, the shit kind of hits the fan, and it's definitely one of the more sadder stories, but it's pretty wild, like the way it just kind of culminates. You're like, wow, after all that, dealing with this cult, this is what happens. It's pretty crazy. And that's where the Purple Charger comes from, and Emma Stone's like fantastic dance. But it was pretty good, I genuinely liked it, right? There's a revolving theme of RMF, who is this random character that is in each of the stories, right? The first episode is the death of RMF, where, again, having Clement's character, like, in a sense, kind of murder him. The second one, RF, is flying. He is the pilot that ends up saving Emma Stone when they end up going to find her. And then the last one is RMF eats a sandwich, and he is actually the cadaver that is brought back to life by the woman that the cultists find to bring back from the dead. So it's a very weird story, and a very weird little trilogy within a movie. I mean, I feel like it would have been better as on a streaming platform, of being able to like make it chapters where you could watch each chapter. I feel like that might be how it is when it's released. Like, they might actually have it, where you could watch each one instead of watching the movie in its whole. But I know it's meant to be a movie, so maybe they won't do that. But it was a very interesting film. I enjoyed it. Like I said, this is Yorgos Lanthimos' third or fourth film. He did a couple of indie films, of course, for his debuts, and then Poor Things was like his first crazy theatrical. Apparently he did one called The Favorite, I haven't seen, and then now Kinds of Kindness. Apparently the movie was originally called RMF, and they were going to just kind of have it as a story involving this character, which I think would have probably been better, because Kinds of Kindness is like, I mean, I guess it is kinds of kindness. Like, each story has people doing things for each other, but at the cost of like their own free will and livelihood. It's pretty wild. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a little, like I said, it was a little long, but honestly, like, any movie, like I said, that has Emma Stone topless, I'm kind of down for her. I mean, she aged very beautifully, like fine wine, and
Should we all go upstairs to the bedroom?
it's definitely an interesting movie, to say the least. I mean, for all you ladies out there, you do see a very sensual William Dafoe, if you want to go ahead and check that out. But it was very good. I definitely enjoyed it. It was fun. Like I said, it was just a little long, but for what it's worth, this director definitely has something to bring to the table, and I'm pretty sure his next film is going to be just as intriguing and interesting and obscure. And I'm just glad that he's making movies, And again, the cast is fantastic. Everyone does a phenomenal job. Everyone is really praising Jesse Plemons, because in each story he plays three completely different characters, and he does them all so well. Like, he just gives them all their own personality, their own quirks and characteristics. It's just crazy how good of an actor he is to be able to just kind of like make that seamless transition. And as for Emma Stone, she's great in each one. Some of them she doesn't really need to do as much as others, and all the other actors are great in their supporting roles respectively. And I think everyone just did a phenomenal job. And it was definitely, like I said, it's an interesting movie. Definitely maybe not for everyone, but I would definitely suggest to see it if you want to see something new and different, and something that just really scratch your head to and try to discuss with some friends or family. I don't know. But yeah, Kinds of Kindness, I would definitely suggest it. Check it out. This has been Ghost on the Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.